importance, because a lot of women do not know how important this is to men. It's so important to so many men.
Guys, it's important for them to be desirable. It's part of their masculinity.
I can't think of a guy that I know this isn't important to.
This is not about how to get guys to do what you want. This is about how to express love to him without saying anything.
But we're just calling it sexy time. So Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel. On our channel, we talk about everything that has to do with developing femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I am Cherry Lynn, and I'm here with my mom, Dixie Andel Forsyth. Hi.
Hi.
So today we wanted to talk about some things that you can do for your husband or your boyfriend that say, I love you, without actually saying hardly anything.
Men aren't always as comfortable with verbal, and they get a lot of nonverbal. They understand it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of ladies too, they get they ask us questions about, worried about their husband, or worried that maybe feeling a little insecure, maybe not sure, does he love me? Or, how can I tell him I love him? And I know you had told me that when you and Dad were first married, you used to tell him you loved him all the time. And he would say, you can tell the story. He would say something like, well, that's great, but anything else?
What I didn't realize when I first married him, because you don't know their family all that well, is that his mother had taught him talk is cheap. And it wasn't until a few years later I told him women need both talk and actions. And he kind of was raised with the idea that talking is anyone can say anything and be disingenuous. But if you show someone that you love them by the things that you do, particularly things you don't need to do, you don't have to do, things that don't even necessarily require him to say thank you. Those are real acts of love and acts of kindness.
I agree. And I think this video is particularly really important to me because my husband is very nonverbal. And so I think Fascinating Womanhood has kind of taught me how to do some of these things kind of subconsciously. And, when I figured these things out, and I'm still figuring them out, but when I started to figure out all of the ways I can show my husband that I love him without really having to say a whole lot, I think it meant more to him than maybe how I might want to hear it more, but he doesn't necessarily want to hear it as much. So we have 17 ways to show him you love him without saying hardly anything. And we wanted this to really be about almost no words. Before we get into this list, I do want to also share that we interviewed men for this list. We had 3 men that contributed to this list. So this isn't just showing him you love him from a woman's perspective. This is a collaboration between men and women that combined this list.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
Because sometimes I think women, we come up with these lists and it's like, it starts to all be things that we like to do to show him we love him, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what he feels loved by. And I do have to say there's some things in here that I never would have added on here myself. I wouldn't have thought of at all. And the guys came up with it. So these are really valuable. So
okay. Number 1, give him a pass. I find I can do this over all kinds of little things, like he forgets to bring the dry cleaning home when he said he would. He said he would do something else and he doesn't, or he leaves something out on the counter and doesn't put it away. Just all kinds of things. Just give him a pass.
Yeah, I think giving him a pass is something that I would never have thought to do. But the guys, as mentioned before, really were talking and we were having a long discussion about this list, but how important it is for them to feel like they're not constantly almost kind of being like nagged or picked on. More than likely, they know, maybe not every mistake, but more than likely, if he's making these little mistakes, he probably knows. So him being aware of them and also noticing that you don't pick up on it and nag him for it actually helps him to feel loved by you.
Well, actually, like the dry cleaning thing, it's a small thing to us, but that's an area of competence for him. So if you say you messed up, he feels less confident.
Okay, the next one is make him his favorite meal. This is an obvious one. I'm sure everyone knew that this was going to be on here, but it is important that you do think about this because I know you're all probably listening to this and going, oh, I do that. But does he have something really special that's his favorite thing? It may not even be something that you necessarily spend hours and hours on, but is it something that you just don't make for him very often?
It's something that isn't your favorite, so you make it less often.
I know for me, my kids, it kind of dictate a lot of our dinners and meals because it's tough because they don't like spicy food and things like that. So every once in a while, I will make that spicy item and just make a side item for the kids. And he always appreciates it. And I think women appreciate this too, but I think it's a little bit different for men, most men, to make them that thing that makes them feel homey, loved, comfortable. You all know what that thing is for your guy.
Yeah. Okay, number 3 kind of goes with it, but it's a little different. Make him a favorite snack. Something that he can just get into when he wants, that you don't have to go prepare right then. That's already there for him.
It might even be something that you buy, but always have it there. I think you just, the key here with this one is to always have it there. And I know the guys we were talking to when we were preparing this video, they mentioned how special they feel when their wives bring them food or bring them snacks when they have maybe some other male friends over, maybe they're watching sports, and wow, how special they feel that their wife comes out and brings like these snacks to the conversation.
It also makes them feel like I have a great wife to their friend.
Yeah. A lot of our ladies contributed to the cooking ones. Some of the ladies say that they would put little special treats in their husband's lunches if they go to work, if they travel outside of the home for work, and they put little like special things in there and hide it. Some of the ladies were saying they hide snacks and things in their car. I don't know. I've never done anything like that, but I think it's cute. It's a cute idea if you're looking for more ways to show him that you love him.
And by the way, if this is a boyfriend, you could do a lot of these same things.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I detest black licorice. I cannot say how much I hate black licorice. So when I get it at the store and put it in the cupboard, it means a lot to Bob because he knows I'm not getting it for me.
That's a good point. That's a good point. When you're talking about the meals and the snacks, knowing what he likes, whether you like it or not, it's there. I can't stand mushrooms. They make me just sick even talking about them. But I know my husband likes mushrooms on his steak. So when I'll grill steaks, I will buy mushrooms at the store, and I even put them in my cart, and I'm thinking to myself, but I'll buy them. But I'll offer it to him as the little side thing that he puts on his steak. And he'll always feel so special that I remember.
He knows you don't like them. Yeah.
He knows I just absolutely don't like them. The next one is physical affection. Now, this is a 2-parter. 4 is physical affection and 5 is physical attention. We wanted to separate affection and attention into 2 different categories because they're a little different. And the guys are the ones that Dad specifically was the one that separated these, which I think is very helpful. So what do we consider to be under physical affection?
Hugs, touching his shoulders, linking your arms, things like that are just holding his hand. Things that are physical affection, like the kissing him on the cheek. And we're separating it from
attention,
romantic interludes, Right.
Right. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I think this one's really important and a lot of women forget. And then the physical attention.
The guys really love this one, like a foot rub, rubbing their neck. Sometimes like when we're driving long distance, Bob's neck, it's kind of stiff from being in one spot. So if I reach over and rub his neck or a back rub or something like that really helps him unwind.
My husband, he likes his back scratch, and I have somewhat long nails. And so he says, like, nobody scratches my back like you do. And it's something that his mom did when he was little with his head. She'd scratch his head and he'd go to sleep, but now he likes it on it. So I scratch, not that I'm his mom, but it's a message of
it's a comfort thing.
And love. Yeah. It's a message of comfort and love. And my son likes it too, which is really fun.
Number 6 is forgive his grumpy moods. Which Bob doesn't have, but a lot of men do.
This is probably the hardest one. And it's surprising that it's on here because it's actually something that it's saying like, don't do this and he'll feel loved versus do this, right? And he'll feel loved.
Especially if you've acted differently before.
If he's grumpy, don't say, anything negative about his mood. Give him a pass from time to time. This kind of is like give him a pass, but this one's different because the past one had to do with mistakes and tasks, whereas this one is just about him maybe
when he's in the downstairs of his mind.
Tired. Yeah. He's hungry. He's tired. He's stressed, whatever. Instead of picking on him, like yesterday, I heard somebody on our group she told our group that her husband was being a baby about something. That's another example of forgive his grumpy moods. Forgive maybe his moments where he's upset about something and maybe he overreacted. Just forgive him and let him move on. It'll help him. He really will notice. I promise. Even if he doesn't say anything, he'll notice.
Okay. This one was given by the guys. Number 7. Take care of your own messes. If you've made a big mess, take care of it and don't just leave it.
Yeah, this one is really, really important for women, I think, in the bathroom. I know a guy that he was telling me, this was years ago, how his wife would leave like wads of hair in the shower. And it just completely like, I mean, guys, don't get me wrong. Guys leave messes too. This isn't, but just, you can't force him to do what you want him to do, but you can do something about your messes. And chances are he will notice if you're clean and tidy with your own.
This is not about how to get guys to do what you want. This is about how to express love to him without saying anything.
Yeah.
Okay, number 8, wear things he likes on you. Wear your hair in a way that he likes.
He will definitely notice if you are wearing things that he likes, and he may not even say anything. This is really hard for some ladies because they might do this and then they don't get anything back. So this is no strings attached. If you know he likes your hair curly and down, try to wear it that way for him. I know you do this a lot for Deb. This is a big one.
I do it every day. In fact, if he tells me, I don't hardly ever buy clothes when he's not there, but if I were to and he didn't like it, I would probably never wear it again.
I love that he even picks out your perfume and he buys you perfume. I know my husband buys my perfume and I always make sure, okay, this is the one that he bought, because I have a few that I've bought and I'll try to wear it when I know we're going to spend time together. Listen to him genuinely. And I know this is so kind of like obvious and so simple, but I think a lot of ladies, especially if you've been married a long time, this isn't as hard for those who are dating or maybe newly married, but listen to him genuinely when he's talking. This means give him eye contact, interact back with him, but listen to him and remember those things that he's telling you, even if they're things that you maybe it's about work and you're not entirely sure what exactly he's talking about. Listen to him. Don't let interruptions take away your time while he's talking to you, if you can.
And show him you're listening by the how you look intent. Like you may even go like this, lean forward. Your body language will show that you're listening intently.
Smiling back. Maybe it's even about dropping something that you're doing just for a second and turning your body towards him. You know, sometimes I'm cooking and my husband comes in the room and from the kitchen and he'll start talking to me. It's easy for me to bring my cutting board over and face the direction of him. I know that's so small, but that's another way you can show him, well, I want to listen to you. Mm-hmm. This is what we call in Fascinating Womanhood, making him number one, but we're just, we're kind of expanding on it and adding it in here as one point. The next one is,
this was the guy's one. Get involved with his hobbies, even if it just means that you're learning more about what he likes. Like if he's into, furniture making or something like that, show that you're interested in it, support him in it. Or if he draws or paints, or if he likes gardening or any kind of hobbies that he might like.
He might even be suddenly into something totally new and that kind of takes you off guard. And that's okay. Hear what he has to say about it. He may just want your approval, even if you just show up. Maybe I know last summer or 2 summers ago, my husband joined a soccer team at work. I asked him when the games were going to be and if I could come. And you want to come to my game? Like, aren't you too busy? And I was like, no, I want to be there. I want to see it. I mean, I didn't really have time, but I made time. And that kind of falls under another bullet that we'll get into, but I made time to see him because that is something that he likes to do. And that is his hobby. And I wanted to be a part of it. So soccer's not my thing. I don't really care about soccer, but I wanted to be a part of it. And I think that meant a lot to him. And there's so many little things that you can do. Maybe you can't necessarily show up for all of his hobbies, but I think it's about genuinely being interested in them and hearing about them.
It's like if his hobby is fishing and you can't always go, but you can just be interested in it. Okay, this next one is a really good one. Accept his movies or TV watching choices. That isn't always easy for someone.
This one's hard for me. I mean, I've had to learn over the years, like how much it means, because a lot of women do not know how important this is to men. It's so important to so many men. I can't think of a guy that I know that this is important and this isn't important to. And this includes sports. If he likes sports, if he likes action movies and maybe you don't as much, whatever his choices and preferences are, accept those, allow that to happen, allow him to watch it with him from time to time. You don't even have to watch sports with him, but maybe just don't interrupt him if he wants to watch sports.
I'll bring him snacks when he is watching sports, which shows that you're supporting it.
Or don't nag him for wanting to watch sports or this again, or how long is this going to be? I know that that's so hard. I've done it before. Like, how much longer is this game going to be?
Because games are not like movies. They're really
it's hard.
they went into overtime again. And so it can be hard. But if we can accept it and say, this is important to him, and just plan to do something else during that time. Sometimes Bob likes me to be with him. I'm lucky he doesn't watch. He just isn't avid, like he watches every game.
Yeah.
When he does, he likes me to be with him. So if I'm not interested in the game, I can sit next to him and kind of snuggle to him and look at my phone or do something else.
You know what I do when my husband wants to watch something that's really like action, bloody, just, I can't handle it kind of thing. And I might be like, all right, we'll watch it. I will do my nails while we watch it. I'll file my nails. I look at action movies that are really gross or maybe like the scary ones. I see that as kind of like a downstairs activity. Some people think it's an upstairs activity. I see it as kind of like it makes me feel down. So I'll combine it with an upstairs activity and I'll do my nails and that makes me feel good. And then it's not as hard to watch.
Well, another thing you can do is I haven't been done it for lately, but I sometimes have crocheted.
You can knit, whatever you do,
crochet or do something.
Anything that you can do. I mean, it's hard if you have your phone because he's going to feel like you're
kind of gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that me personally because I know my husband would feel hurt by that. But if you can find something to do next to him that he's not going to know that you're kind of like trying to multitask, it's a win-win for both of you. Mm-hmm. Show interest and appreciation for gifts that he gives you. This is really, really important. If he gives you something and you don't love it, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, this is great. And then return it. And then he finds out or something. And then he says, what happened to that thing I gave you? And you say, I returned it. Gifts are an expression of love. And it's tough if you have a bad gift giver. If you got a guy that's a really, really bad gift giver, I feel like that could be a whole separate subject. But for the most part, if he gives you something, try your very, very hardest to use it, wear it.
Don't use it in 6 months from now.
Like, I know I was telling you this, I can share this. My husband randomly bought me a food dehydrator last year and he just came home with it. And I was like, what? I didn't express any interest in wanting one, but he had come across a great deal on it. I found out later he was craving jerky. He wanted homemade jerky. I didn't even know. I was like, what? So I put it away because I just thought, I don't know how to use that. I'm going to use it later. And he asked me the next week, did you not like that food dehydrator that I got you? And I was like, oh, I do. Like, I think it's cool. I just don't know how to use it. He was like, oh, I guess I could take it back. I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up bad. Like, I didn't realize that meant love to him. Mm-hmm. He wanted to give that to me and he wanted me to use it. Now, he doesn't know that wasn't something that I would consider to be loving like back, but that wasn't the point. The point is this is an opportunity for me to tell him I love him and I'm actually glad I did it because I learned how to make all kinds of stuff with it. That's just one example, but you can this could be lingerie. I know you had a story about lingerie.
Yeah, I knew somebody years ago who told me that her husband bought her a sexy nighty for
out of the blue, like not normal for
some occasion. And she was embarrassed by it. She returned it and bought herself a flannel nightgown. And she said he never bought her anything romantic again.
That's so sad.
I know. I felt sad.
I can see where she's coming from. She was probably not comfortable to wear it. And I think there's a happy in between.
She was, at the time, she had little kids and she was afraid somebody might see her in it. But
she didn't know that she was going to make him feel, not loved. It's sending a message of, I don't love you, even though that's not what she meant. She could have purchased maybe a robe to go over it. So she could cover it up.
She's just practical.
So many things. Yeah.
Well, another one is making time for him. Moving one activity that you maybe plan to do if you can, if it's not set in stone, like a dentist appointment. We said in one of the other ones, watch a movie, and I have something else I want to do. If it's not super important, I change things around.
I think this one's really tough and it's an easy one to miss. A lot of ladies that are struggling that come to us and their marriage is not so great, or maybe even you're dating and things aren't going so great. This is a really important one, making time for him, because it really involves you picking up on cues, paying attention to body language, paying attention to him and what he's doing. It can be tough when you're busy to notice, oh, he wants to spend time. I need to make time. Or he's kind of grumpy because we haven't spent time together. There's so many different ways you could dice this. And I think for me personally, I think it's just about being creative and picking up on his cues.
All this goes back to taking him for granted. As you were talking, I was remembering how when Bob and I were dating, when he would call me and ask me out for a date, I was so excited. I dropped everything to go on a date with him. It's interesting to see how quickly we can take this man for granted that we felt like. Remember the day I got engaged, I thought I was so naive. I thought I will never cry again in my life because I get married. I didn't realize there's a lot of other things to cry about later. But I get to marry the dream guy, the guy that I've always wanted, type of guy I've always wanted and dreamed and prayed I would marry. And so I thought nothing could compare to that. So how easy it is for us to take them for granted and actually hear ourselves saying, I have to make time for him. What? You can always switch to not taking him for granted. You can just, all you have to do is remind yourself, remember how you felt, and then look at him and you think, I can't believe I ever take this guy for granted.
Yeah, so that's a really important one. I feel like that one would probably be the most important one for most people.
Another one is harder for some of us than others. Having a positive attitude in general, particularly if he falls under the category of one of the things above grumpy mood, or he's maybe tends to be a little melancholy or something. If you smile and have a positive mood, think on the bright side.
Dad came up with this one. This was Dad's. And I thought this was a really good one because it's something that we as ladies don't think about as a love, an expression of love. Being positive? What do you mean? That's showing him I love him by being positive. But it really is, because you're showing him that you can be flexible. Whatever's coming at you, if you can be flexible with that, you're going to be more pleasant to be around, and he's going to notice that. That's tough too. That's a tough one.
One of our ladies, one of you out there, suggested something I thought was really good, which is handwritten notes. Even putting them in just in his car or on his pillow.
Yeah, I don't really do this one because I don't think I've tried it in the past and I don't think he's responded, but I have talked to a lot of ladies that their husbands really love this, or like a note that says that you're leaving. Oh, I'm leaving, I'll be back at this time. Love you. Like those kind of things. I think that's really sweet and really cute. And it's a small thing that you're saying that you're thinking about him without saying anything. Notes are great too. If you've maybe had a little bit of a disagreement, maybe the last time you spoke, things weren't really positive, and you leave him a note in the morning before he leaves. If you don't see him in the morning that says, love you, hope you have a good day or something. Some women aren't as good at saying that, but they're great at writing it. So greeting him when he walks through the door. We've actually did a video on this. This is a major fascinating womanhood principle. This goes back to your mom's book, right?
Yes. And I also add to that, watch him leave and wave goodbye. I do that.
If you can. Greeting him is so, if you haven't practiced this yet regularly in your relationship, you've got to give it a try. I'm telling you, it is just magic in your relationship to greet him. And it doesn't have to be this grand, huge thing. It might be really quick and sweet.
Sometimes I'll say, boy, I've missed you, or you're a sight for sore eyes, or something like that. And he always loves that.
See, me, I don't really say hardly anything. It's the embrace that's really important to him. And that's why this one I think is great for, you don't have to say anything.
You don't have to say anything.
An embrace, eye contact, also just dropping what you're doing. If you're in the middle of something, if you can, if you're in the middle of something, if you're on the phone and he comes home, try to put that phone on hold, or try to drop that thing that you're doing really quick to just give him a little hug.
I don't remember whether it was you or one of your sisters that said they noticed that whenever they're on the phone with me and Dad calls, I always say it's him. I got to go.
It was me. Calling is also, I think that's important. I'm glad you brought that up. But he's calling you, you're on the phone with somebody else. Switch over.
He's calling, he takes precedence, unless it's something. Over. Yeah.
If he's texting you and you need something and you're in the middle of something, pause what you're doing. If you can, pause what you're doing and send him something. Sometimes my husband will say something like, I'm on my way home. He'll text me. And instead of just being like, okay, I'll put a heart emoji on it and just be like, yay. Or sometimes I'll say, yay. Like that, I think is also included with the greeting kind of topic. It's like all about, exchanges of hello and goodbye.
Okay. Are we ready for the last one?
And then there's one more. we didn't know what else to call this. And this is probably the most obvious, so that's why it's at the end, but we're just calling it sexy time. So
yeah, or Bob would say romantic interlude.
It's like, it's so mysterious. What is that? No, sexy time to me includes your intimate time, which is important to men. It's important to women, but it's really important to men. This includes lingerie. One of our ladies said she takes a picture of herself in lingerie and sends it to him. It could be a lot of different things. I think this one includes anything that has to do with that private romantic time, because I know ladies, I've talked to ladies that have told me my marriage helped me. My marriage is in shambles. We start talking for a while, and then I end up finding out that it's been months since they've been intimate. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a part of love. Like it's not the only part of love, but it's a part of love. And it's really important to men. So we're not saying that this has to be the foundation of your love and telling him that you love him, but this is one of them. And I do love the lingerie added part of this, because I do think if you can wear something pretty, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable or something that you're not comfortable with.
Well, guys, it's important for them to be desirable. That's part of their masculinity, that you are interested in them.
Yeah, I think this is just so different for everyone, but we wanted to include it because our Facebook group, they did mention this several times, and there was a lot of different versions of it. And I think we won't go through all of those, because I think we all know, you guys all know what you can do, but just remembering how important that intimacy is in your marriage, and remembering it and protecting time for it, and not saying that you're too tired all the time and those kind of things. I think some ladies, when they first have babies, they fall into a period of time in their life where it's hard for them. And I think it's just something to remember how important it is to your guy. So that's our list. That's our 17 ways to show him you love him without necessarily saying hardly anything. I hope you all enjoyed it.
There's more.
There's so many more. And we actually left a few off because we felt like they were a little bit repetitive of some of the things we already said. But if you have any extra ones that aren't on our list that you would like to add down below, we would love to hear from you. We always love hearing from everyone. And please hit like and subscribe if you want to support us and support our channel. And then you will know when we have a new video come out if you're subscribed to us. Check out all the links also attached to this video, where you can find Dixie's books, her workbooks. If you liked this video, you probably love our love journal book. It's so great. And it's such a great thing for this time of year. A lot of people are doing Valentine's Day things, and anniversaries are coming up soon, and the love journal is so great for that. So check that out. That'll be linked down below too. And we'll hopefully see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.